Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. What I have in my hand is a really old Castle edition of Magic in Theory and Practice. Now, I bought it used probably in 1972 or something like that at Gilbert's bookstore on Hollywood Boulevard. Look, there's my old DuQuette family book plate, and there's my stamp, which I added many years later. Christopher Hyatt had this stamp made up for a book signing he and I did, and I did my own artwork on the cover, and years later even added another picture. This picture was taken, incidentally, by Rodney Orpheus when we went to Disneyland together once a million years ago. I'm just showing you that because, look, it's totally falling apart. If any of you out there restores, rebinds precious or sentimental books, it's got all my marginal notes that I made as I was preparing to write The Magic of Thelema and things like that. It's a very precious book to me. Anybody wants to rebind this for me to preserve it for posterity, please contact me. I'm going to read something today, if I can re-find it. Here it is. In response to some email messages that I've been getting, or Facebook messages, concerning people write me, and I don't want to discourage you from writing me, but I do want to caution you that there truly is only so many hours of the day, and many questions are such good questions that they require an entire book or two or three to properly answer. And of course, I'm not going to be able to do that on Facebook Messenger. What is your definition of, what do you think of? So I appreciate the questions, but please remember, I can't be kind of realistic in how much time do you think Lon has today to answer this. And but anyway, I don't want to discourage you. But one of the questions concerning the objectivity or the subjectivity, whatever that means, of the spirits and other astrally type entities and things. And you know that I often quote Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford when I say it's all in your head. You just have no idea how big your head is. And people take that and say, well, Lon says it's all, the spirits aren't really real, it's all psychological. And that's not what I'm saying at all. The last part of that sentence is, you just have no idea how big your head is. So the idea is not to debate the reality or the actuality of spirits. The debate should be, how do you freaking know how big your head is? How do you realize how big your head is? How do you perceive things from the secure knowledge of how really big your head is? That's That's the great work. Not to argue the objectivity of everything, but to discover how big your head really is. And when talking about astral forms, astral beings, the reality of such, Crowley tried to address this, and he did it pretty well in the 1920s, when one of his students at the Abbey of Thelema in Cefalù, Sicily, sort of asked for clarification about this. And this is where Crowley, in my opinion, more or less stated or tried to clear up the all in your head, you just have no idea how big your head is thing. And he did it, and he included, because he was dictating the material that would later become Book 4, Part 3, while he was at the Abbey of Thelema in Sicily. And so this was written about that same time. Now, obviously, Crowley lived, a long life after this, well over. Crowley, died in 1947. This was probably written in 1923. But I want to share it with you because I was reading it over in an attempt to answer one of those unanswerable Facebook questions. And I said, wow, Crowley just spells it right out here. So I'm going to read the whole. It's Appendix 3 of Magic in Theory and Practice, or in your Book 4, Part 3. And it's called Notes on the Nature of the Astral Plane. It's so good. Okay, I'm probably going to take at least 2 of our morning sessions to complete the whole chapter. So I'm going to I'm calling this Part 1. Okay. And if you've got the old Castle edition of the Magic in Theory and Practice, it starts on page 245. Notes on the nature of the astral plane. And it's got a footnote. He is doing this for Soror Rodon, a probationer at the time in Cefalù. And there's points as if these are numbered notes. 1. What are astral and spiritual beings? Man is one. It is a case of any consciousness assuming sensible form. Microcosms and elementals. Maybe an elemental, as an example a dog, has a cosmic conception in which he is a microcosm and man incomplete. No means of deciding same, as in case of kinds of space. Similarly, our gross matter may appear unreal to beings clad in fine matter. Thus, science thinks vulgar perceptions errors. We cannot perceive at all except within our gamut, as concentrated perfumes, which seem malodorous, and time-hidden facts, such as the vanes of a revolving fan, which a fly can distinguish. Hence, no a priori reason to deny the existence of conscious intelligences within sensible bodies. Indeed, we know of other orders of minds, flies, etc., possibly vegetables, thinking by means of non-human brain structures, Now, what we know now about the consciousness of trees and the interaction of the consciousness of a forest of trees, not to mention the almost universal mind-boggling connection of the mushrooms and things like that. That Crowley would have loved that information. But I digress. But the fundamental problem of religion is this: is there any praeter-human intelligence of the same order of our own, which is not dependent on cerebral structures consisting of matter in the vulgar sense of the word? Or, as Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford would call it many years in the future, your meat brain. 2. Matter includes all that is movable. Thus, electric waves are matter. There's no reason to deny the existence of beings who perceive by other means those subtle forces which we only perceive by our instruments. 3. We can influence other beings, conscious or no, as lion tamers, gardeners, etc., and are influenced by them, as by storms or bacilli. 4. There is an apparent gap between our senses and their correspondences in consciousness. Theory needs a medium to join matter and spirit, just as physics once needed ether or aether to transmit and transmute vibrations. Now, if lightning would strike me, and this is all we get to hear today, this is the one. We may consider all things as parts of ourself, parts of ourselves, actually. But it is more convenient to regard them as independent. Maximum convenience is our canon of truth. We may thus refer to psychical phenomena to the intention of astral beings, without committing ourselves to any theory. Coherence is the sole quality demanded of us. Are spirits subjective or objective? It doesn't matter, but it's more convenient for us to consider them objective. It's convenient for our magic. It's convenient for our imagination. It's convenient on a quantum level for our great work. That's DuQuette's digression. I'm going to read number 5 one more time. We may consider all beings as part of ourselves, but it is more convenient to regard them as independent. Maximum convenience is our canon of truth. We may refer to psychical phenomena to the intention of astral beings. You know, the ghost made me do it. The ghost said this. The ghost, my vision angel told me this. We may thus refer psychical phenomena to the intention of astral beings without committing ourselves to any theory. Coherence is the sole quality demanded of us. Number 6. Magic enables us to receive sensible impressions of worlds other than the physical universe, as generally understood by profane science. These worlds have their own laws, their own inhabitants, are often of quasi-human intelligence. There is a definite set of relations between certain ideas of ours and their expressions, and certain types of phenomena. Thus, symbols, the Kabbalah, etc., enable us to communicate with whom we choose. 7. Astral, and he's got astral in quotes, as if you're seeing air quotes when Crowley says astral beings possess knowledge and power of a different kind than our own. Their universe is presumably of a different kind from ours in some respects. I mean, our idea of bone is not the same as a dog's. Short-sighted man sees things differently than one of normal vision. It is more convenient, and Crowley has put that in bold letters. It is more convenient to assume the objective existence of an angel who gives us new knowledge than to allege that our invocation has awakened a supernormal power in ourselves. It's just more convenient. Ultimately, if on one level it satisfies your logical mind to tuck away in the back of your mind that, no, in essence, it's all in my head. I just have no idea how big my head is, okay? But for the sake of the work, the operation, the absorption of the message that you may be getting from the such visions, it's much more convenient, practical, and functionally magic to just give it an objective reality. So he says such incidents as Calderazzo and Jacob make this more cognate, and that's in reference to Crowley's own vision, earlier visions, including his Amarantha vision, which is a digression. Okay, number 8. The Kabbalah maps ourselves by means of a convention. Every aspect of every object may thus be referred to the tree of life and evoked by using the proper keys. 9. Time and space are forms by which we obtain distorted images of ideas. Our measures of time and space are crude conventions and differ widely for different beings. And he's got this in parentheses. Hashish shows how the same mind may vary. Remember, he's writing this in at the Abbey of Thelema, which explored all of those mind-altering things. Number 10. We may admit that any aspect of any object or idea may be presented to us in symbolic form, whose relation to its being is irrational. Thus, there is no rational link between seeing a bell struck and hearing its chime. Our notion of bell is no more than a personification of its impressions on our senses. And our wit empowered to make a bell, to order, imply a series of correspondences between various orders of nature precisely analogous to magic, when we obtain a vision of its beauty by the use of certain colors, forms, sounds, etc. 11. Astral beings may thus be defined in the same way as material objects. They are the unknown causes of various observed facts. They may be of any order of existence. We may give a physical form and a name to a bell, but not to its tone. Though in each case we know nothing but our own impressions. But we record musical sounds by a special convention. We may therefore call a certain set of qualities Ratziel, or describe an impression as Saturnian, without pretending to know what anything is in itself. All we need to know is how to cast a bell that will please our ears and how to evoke a spirit that will tell us things that are hidden from our intellectual faculties. And I think that's where we're going to stop. We'll pick it up at number 12 tomorrow. Now, I don't know how many times I've read this, but it's one of the appendices of Magic and Theory and Practice. I bet I haven't read it as many times as I've read other sections of Magic and Theory and Practice or Book 4. But I tell you, every time I read the Book of Thoth or Magic and Theory and Practice, or Book 4, Part 1, Part 2, it's like I'm reading a brand new book every time. It's just, I read that before. Why didn't I understand it? He's, at first when you read Crowley, he goes, whoa, that's so far over my head. I have no idea what he's saying. And with repeated readings, it gets clearer and clearer and clearer. And but anyway, that's it for Thursday. Constance came in and snuck around and did something in the background there. She didn't say hello, but she was here. Or she was an astral being. Sometimes I wonder. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.